Everyone, this is Adam Gillespie with Rancid and Sweaty Calves coming at you with yet another video. And in this one, I'll be covering something that was just so painfully obvious that I honestly don't know why it is that people still think that when someone has increased vascularity as they age and a perpetually growing forehead with consistent definition and muscle growth, that they're totally natural. I don't know how people still think that when that's been proven wrong scientifically time and time again. It is possible to lose fat and gain muscle at the same time. You just have to go on a clean bulk. But even then, it's not necessarily losing fat as much as it is just sort of not gaining fat, as much as you are reappropriating the clean bulk, the clean foods that you're eating in excess to your body so that your body can properly grow its muscles. Now, as for the Liver King, a man who has been a notorious PED abuser, it was painfully obvious from day one, recently got called out. Liver King admits he effed up and lied over steroid use. This is from the New York Post. Liver King is now eating raw humble pie. I fully own that I effed up, the shirtless influencer said in a video, finally admitting that his stomach-churning diet of raw liver and testicles was not the secret to his eye-popping physique. Yes, I've done steroids, and yes, I'm on steroids, he admitted late Thursday, days after his $10,000 to $11,000 a month habit was exposed. And I've even heard more than that. I'm making this video to apologize because I effed up, the primal lifestyle fraud, real name Brian Johnson, said in his mea culpa. Because I'm embarrassed and ashamed, because I lied, and I missed a lot of people, he said. I have only myself to blame. I did that, and it was all wrong, he said, vowing to be better. Johnson said that he dug himself into a bigger and deeper hole every time he lied on podcasts by denying ever using steroids, and instead of putting his almost cartoonish figure down to his 9 ancestral tenets, as well as his own brand of meat supplements, I should say. He put his steroid use down to self-esteem issues. This is why I effing work myself to death in the gym. This is why I do 12 to 15 blood-burning workouts a week, just to feel like I'm okay, he said. And a hormone replacement has helped in a profound and significant way. While admitting steroid use, he had laughed off speculation that he'd had ab implants or any other plastic surgery. He also addressed the biggest criticism of his lie, that it helped him grow rich by bamboozling followers into buying his ancestral supplements product. Nope, the Liver King brand had nothing, or at least very little, to do with a business success, said Johnson, who had previously claimed to make more than $100 million a year. My companies were already kicking butt, already successful before the Liver King public figure, he claimed. He ended his initial apology by saying he was as sorry as any man can be. And all I can do is take extreme ownership right now, be better, and lead myself to a better life as a better human. In a fresh video on his Instagram stories Friday, he even expressed his deepest appreciation to Derek of More Plates, More Dates, the podcaster who exposed his steroid bill. Alright. So let's go ahead and talk about this, shall we? Let's go ahead and I'll share my brief thoughts on this. I know it's hard for a man with a massive self-esteem issue to admit when he is a fraud, to admit when he's not what he claims to be. When a man talks as big and as bad and as much as someone like Liver King does, you can almost guarantee they're lying. You can almost guarantee that a person who continuously talks and just talks and talks and talks and talks and talks and tries to make themselves seem like this big bad thing, they're probably not that. The guy in a fight that you want to avoid is the guy who's silent or is smiling because he's ready. The guy that you would probably want to mess with is the one who's talking a big game and getting up in your face and saying all these defamatory statements and making the claims that he's some sort of big bad uber awesome guy who can stop anybody. Same thing goes for guys in the gym. The guy who talks about all these supplements he takes and doesn't, he's totally natural, bro, and he looks like he's super jacked, and he just completely disillusions you of, or illusions you, kind of just lies to you through his statements that are perpetually the same thing over and over again. Like, I prioritize, execute, and dominate. Like, no. Anyone who says that stuff, anyone who continuously talks big about themselves, or even talks about themselves in the third person, like Liver King did, is lying to you. He's a fraud. They, them, whoever it is that you're talking to, he, she, it doesn't matter. The more they talk about how big and bad they are, the less you should believe them. It's a very good rule of life. Okay? Typically, people who can do things don't necessarily brag about it. It's the people who brag about it who are the ones who are the most insecure and the most likely to go down easy. The least difficult to deal with. And the Liver King, Brian Johnson, has made a pretty massive mistake. His brand is going to take a massive hit after this. The reason why it is that someone like Noel Diesel on Instagram and on TikTok and all these other social media platforms is so successful and so popular is because from the start, Noel Diesel was open about his steroid use. He said from the start that he takes PEDs, performance-enhancing drugs, for those of you who don't know what PED means. But he didn't lie. He was open about it, and he talked about it, and he condemned people who do lie about it. He said you have a duty to make sure that you are open and honest about what it is that you take and do in the gym and what supplements you have, so that your audience doesn't kill themselves in the gym doing workouts and exercises that you recommend them do, and use diets that you recommend for them, but then still do nothing overall, if that makes any sense. Noel Diesel called out people in the industry who abuse steroids and then make it seem as though they're doing something more valuable and honorable than they actually are. So Noel Diesel, a guy who is clearly not natural, who clearly is open about his steroid use, I have so much more respect for than 90% of the rest of the fitness industry, because at least he's open and honest about the fact that he does use performance-enhancing drugs and steroids. And he's open and honest about the fact that his steroids have caused him health problems, and that he's likely to not live as long as he would naturally because of the fact that he abused these steroids at a young age. He warns people against using steroids like he did when he first started. That's a good, honorable thing to do, especially for someone like Noel Diesel. And because of his honesty, he's become one of the biggest names in the fitness industry. It's really cool to see someone like Noel Diesel out there. And it's really annoying to see someone like the Liver King, who continuously lied about his steroid use, even though it was incredibly evident, making it seem as though he was totally natural, bro. And then his steroid bill comes out, and it's like $11,000 to $12,000 or something like that. And there are steroids in there that would turn the calcium in his bones like to dust, that would make his tendons extremely weak. There are so many steroids on that list that are incredibly detrimental to his overall physical health, and I genuinely am worried that this man could walk down the stairs the wrong way and his tendons would snap. Because there is a steroid in that list. I don't remember the name of it, but there was a steroid on that list of his that can cause tendons to become incredibly weak. Incredibly weak. And he has led so many people astray and down so many paths. There's this shame within the fitness industry for taking performance-enhancing drugs, and I understand it. It's considerably cheating, because it's taking some sort of drug to enhance your overall physical aesthetic or strength or something along those lines, yet you can't achieve that naturally. But it's just as well, you should be able to understand that there are reasons to take PEDs. And if you're open about the fact that you're taking PEDs, or someone else is taking PEDs and they're open about it, that's good. That is a good thing. It's not shameful to be open and honest about what it is that's going on, what about the fact that you take a performance enhancing drug. And it's not good. And it's people like The Rock. People like The Rock who continuously get more vascular and bigger as they get older and have a perpetually growing forehead. The Rock is clearly not natural. Sylvester Stallone wasn't natural when he put on like 30 pounds of muscle for Rambo 2. It's Zachary Levi may not be natural. Chris Pratt may not have been natural. Ben Affleck may not have been natural. The only Hollywood actor that I can think of that may be natural is Henry Cavill, because of the fact, in Man of Steel, is Henry Cavill because of the fact that he wasn't overly vascular. He had a good amount of fat on his body, and yeah, he had a bulk to him, but he was relatively natural looking. He didn't have that steroid use. Now, nowadays he may be more steroids, but who knows? But the general rule of thumb is that if you see someone who is overly vascular, overly cut, and overly ripped, like the Liver King, they're probably on steroid use. So be very careful of who it is that you look to in the fitness industry for advice. Because there are a lot of charlatans out there who will tell you to do things that are not right, who will tell you to do things that are not good for you, who will tell you to do things like eat liver and raw testicles so that you can get jacked like the Liver King. And in reality, he's got veins the size of the Nevada Strait so that he can inject a steroid into his body easier. It's not good. It's a very immoral thing to do, to lie to people in order to make a quick buck. And that's essentially what the Liver King did. And that's shameful. And morally, he should be ashamed. But I don't think that his apology video actually was sincere, if I'm being totally honest. I watched it. I watched his apology video, and when I saw it, I was just sitting there thinking to myself, wow, this is the most non-committal apology video I think I've ever heard. Apart from maybe Logan Paul, who laughed at a guy who committed suicide. Like, it's insane. It really is. It's insane. Like, so many of these people who get called out on their bullcrap, who make apology videos the next day, they're so weak. Because it's not sincere. Because if they were actually sincere about the apology that they were trying to create, they would have apologized on their own. There's this thing called a conscience that people have. And when you cross that and you commit something like that, if you are sincere about your problem, if you're sincere about your apology, you'll come forward of your own volition to apologize. But that's not what happened. That did not happen with the Liver King. He got called out. He got exposed for his fraudulent behavior. And because of that, he decided he was going to try to cry some tears on screen so that he can get some sympathy, so that people wouldn't necessarily condemn him totally and absolutely. Lo and behold, here we are. We're all talking about it. And it was so obvious from the beginning. It was so obvious from the beginning, and it's ridiculous. It really is. It really is. I don't know. That's my thoughts. This was way too long a video to talk about something so obvious as the Liver King abusing steroids and lying about it. And again, like I said, the problem is not that he used steroids. The problem is that he lied about it. steroids have been used in medical practices for a long time to help people improve their health overall. I had steroids when I was a kid because my ear had an infection, and they needed to give me a steroid so that my ear could heal up. Not a steroid so that I could get jacked, but I had a steroid in my ear so that my ear could heal, because the infection had created this massive issue, and I couldn't go swimming without earplugs for the next 7 to 10 years. So I needed steroids to get my ear healed up and get my ear fixed. So steroids are useful in the medical industry. Steroids can be used for the right purposes. It's just a matter of not lying about it. It's just a matter of not bearing false witness to your audience so that you can make a quick buck off of them. And that's what happened. So if you guys enjoyed the video, make sure to leave a like, comment down below your thoughts, share this video out there with your friends, and subscribe and hit that bell notification icon so you don't miss a single video that I upload. Also check me over on Rumble, Patreon, and Twitter. I leave links to those in the description below. I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I hope you guys have a great day and a great rest of the week.